Good evening and welcome to another episode of A Feast of Films for a very special Halloween episode.
Ooh.
With your host, Count Matt Blackula.
I want to suck your blood. Yo.
And Ethan Stein.
Ooh.
Hello,
Your
and
mother,
welcome welcome to Feast of Films, a podcast where we can't control the volume of our voice or cadences. Really?
God, what a terrible opening. And
let's not do
we
that.
lost 100% of viewership in the first 3 seconds. The analytics for this episode are absolutely ridiculous.
Man, I mean, I just gotta assume that happens anytime they hear me talk. Oh, Ethan's in this episode? Like, no. No, like,
But
no.
you're in every episode. Why would they
I
assume you're
know!
not?
How am I in every episode, Matt?
You're in every episode.
Every single one!
Yeah, and I have missed 1, 2,
Do we count the time that you were a ghost?
3. No,
And
I
in
was a
space?
ghost. So you know what? I was literally present in spirit. Literally
you were the ghost
present
of Christmas
in
presents?
spirit. No, I wouldn't say that. I'm more like the ghost of like Christmas. Drink all your booze.
That's
Like,
pretty much
you
Christmas
better
present, I'm
lock
pretty
up
sure.
you better lock up your booze cupboard, man. But I'm a ghost, so damn, it ain't gonna do much good. I'm coming
That
for
sounds
your
like
booze.
that sounds like Christmas present. I mean, also it could be Christmas past too, because you're just sad. Like,
It's honestly more like Christmas future. I think it's just like
'Cause you
I can
teleport
foresee
yourself
a lot
into
of
the
booze
future.
into my future.
well, then but then also you black out and you wake up in the future, so it's like, from all the drinking.
Right.
I don't know. Matt, I've drank like how many times?
I don't know, but that one time was not my fault. I swear to God.
Oh, Ethan, just keep drinking. It's not my fault if I keep telling
Listen,
you a
no,
drunk man to
this-
keep drinking.
This is again. You have this habit of inserting me into your memories of life.
You were at the party, Matt!
There.
Yes, you were!
But to be fair, in your defense, I don't remember anything past the first 3. So for all I know, you were gone after the fact.
No, okay. So yeah, I think I was at that party, but I was not the one feeding you booze all the time. That's for sure.
Someone fed me 6 shots.
Somebody was feeding me
technically-
something. I don't
Not
know what it
6 as much
was.
as it was 12 because they were all doubles. And
Yeah.
either way, I'm content drinking my pop now.
Oh man, too funny. Too funny.
I never drink wine.
I do not drink the wine. I want to suck your blood.
No, you don't. But speaking of that, nice transition there.
You're welcome.
Hey Matt. You know what? Creatures I always think about around Halloween time.
Zombie prostitutes?
I mean, it's close, but not quite, but pretty close.
Oh, okay. In the
You're in the
ballpark
right
at least.
region. You're in the right region, yes, of the
Oh,
undead.
okay.
I think of vampires. And I mean, like, Dracula's brides could be probably viewed as, like, zombie prostitutes if you really think about it.
Yeah. Math.
Do you
Who
even
wants to
know
do
what
that though?
What? What does math have to do with?
I don't know. Do the math. I don't know. It's the same. Like, do the math. And I was already just getting ahead of it. Never mind. Shut up. Go ahead. What are you talking about?
Hey Matt. I gotta ask you a question.
I have not been drinking.
If I talk about anything to do with Dracula, are you gonna know what the heck I'm talking about?
No idea.
Matt,
But I
have
will
you
just
ever-
be like, oh, yes. Yes.
Have
Hell
you
yeah.
never ingested any piece of Dracula fiction at all?
There was that one Supernatural episode where the classic movie monsters were coming to life, but it was actually a shapeshifter.
Ooh, boo!
That was a great episode, though.
I'm not
really
saying it is. I'm saying that's your exposure to Dracula.
Yeah, pretty much. Other than like the stereotypical Dracula stuff.
Did you watch Dracula Untold?
Nope.
Did you watch? You've never seen the classic like Bela Lugosi of Dracula?
Nope.
Nosferatu?
Nope. Oh, I did see What We Do in the Shadows.
That's vampires. That's not Dracula. Dracula's not in it.
I know, but I knew that would be. You'd be like, God damn it! I knew that would piss you off. Man. I love that movie though. That is a great vampire film. It is a great vampire film.
I'm guessing you haven't seen this. I'm guessing you haven't seen the 1979 Dracula.
No.
I'm guessing you haven't. You haven't seen Francis Ford Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula?
No, I haven't.
Keanu Reeves, Gary Oldman. It's a great cast. Keanu Reeves is kind of weak in it, but like just mainly his accent.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Dracula Dead and Loving It.
Nope.
Dracula 2000.
Nope. I did see
Blade
Godzilla
3.
2000, which has 2000 in the title, so pretty close.
Blade 3.
Oh, of course, Blade 3. Yeah.
Well, Dracula's in that, Matt.
Yeah, but
it's not anything like
also,
Dracula.
It's also Dominic Purcell, who is I think his work after that point was better than that
He's
movie.
Fantastic.
But yeah, no, like yeah, sure, Blade 3. But I was mainly there for Ryan Reynolds, not gonna lie, and Wesley Snipes. That was a pretty sick combination.
Hotel Transylvania.
Yeah, but that's kind of like stereotypical Dracula stuff.
You're breaking my heart, Matt.
What?
I came to talk about vampires, and you can't even talk about like the biggest vampire, the most well-known vampire, the one who arguably skyrocketed vampires into the stratosphere of fame.
That is correct. Yes. Yes. Yes.
What are you doing with your life? What
Not watching Dracula.
You're
Not
missing
that there's
out.
anything wrong with Dracula. It's never been one of the movie creatures, movie monsters that has drawn me in at all. Like vampires, for the most part, I'm just like, I'm good. Like,
Is it 'cause
I
you're
don't
too
know,
scared of them?
no,
Or did
not at all.
Twilight kind of taint them for you?
No, not at all. No, it wasn't Twilight. It was even just before that. Like even as a kid, like I just thought there was always like way scarier monsters. Like listen, if you came face to face with a vampire, I'm sure you'd be like, "Oh, I'm effed," before you even knew what was happening. Or the supernatural vampires would be also pretty creepy. But nothing even at a young age drew me towards Dracula. It's like, listen, he lived in the castle. He had a cool cape. He was pretty dope, but I was never drawn to see any of those films.
Have you seen Van Helsing?
I did a long time ago. I have completely erased it from my memory because I didn't really like it.
Well, that's been an episode of Feast of Films, everybody. I'm going to go and watch Dracula because I'm not a monster.
It's Halloween, man. I'm just playing my part.
Of being a terrible person for not seeing any Dracula adaptation. Not even a stage play. Didn't even read the book.
Bro, why would I see this? If I didn't see the movie, why would I see it on a stage play?
Because the stage play is dope. I would know. I worked on it. But then I got pulled off it because of stomach ulcers. But I did special effects for it in our theater school.
But then I was fired.
I wasn't fired. I was forcibly removed
They had
because
to drag
I was
me
too
off.
sick.
They're like, you need to leave. And you're like,
I'm like, no, I can do this show. I'll be fine. Had a panic attack backstage. It's a whole thing.
Nothing against
But
stage
like-
plays. I actually really like stage plays. I'm actually like, I lean, obviously, I obviously love film, but I really enjoy stage plays as well. I just don't ever get the opportunity to go, and I'm usually
Especially
too
now,
poor.
but like,
Yeah, and with COVID
Dude,
for
I'm-
sure.
like as soon as theaters open up again, like I'm gonna start like I know they've started to, but I'm gonna start being more active and try to go to live theater. But it was a dope experience because that's how I got to learn how to make severed heads, neck wounds,
Cool.
squirting blood. Like it was really interesting. I basically got to spend like an entire month just learning the best techniques to make different types of blood too.
That's cool.
One, it's really fascinating because, so for stage, it's also completely different than obviously in a movie, but for both movies and theater, what you normally do is you'll make a bunch of different batches of blood different ways, depending to, like, a lot of it has to be washable, especially in live theater, because, like,
Right.
you have to reset the set every single night. So if you stain it with blood every single night, it's not great. Same thing with film. If you're renting out a place or you're borrowing someone's house, you can't stain their house with a bunch of blood.
Fair enough.
So, unfortunately, washable blood doesn't always look the most realistic or the best.
But
normally,
it is
again, you do a bunch
efficient.
Yeah, and you do a
washing.
bunch of different tests to see what's the best method. What's the best type of blood that you want for it. And it depends on the director. Some directors like super stylized, bright red blood. Some of them like more close to as realistic as possible kind of blood. Like,
Right.
It's really interesting working on that stuff. And like, no, yeah, like working on the Dracula stage play was dope. It was amazing. I wish I could have seen the show through. I did get the unique experience because I was sick. I got to watch the show though.
Oh, well, there you go.
So I got to see the work from the actual audience perspective. And it was really cool. It was
Best
really
of
cool
both
to see.
worlds.
Yeah, it was great. I got to see it executed. And
Cool.
it was just... It's just a fun story. You know?
I was also dying, but it was pretty cool.
Slowly but surely, but I'm alive now. I've made it. I made it past that point.
Well, I would hope so, because who have we been talking to this whole time?
Or did I, Matt? Maybe I turned into a vampire.
Here's a question. Do vampires show up in cameras? Because they don't show up in mirrors, right?
I was thinking about that
Lost
recently.
Boys. That was a good one.
But I was thinking about that within relation to what we do in the shadows.
Yeah.
It's a documentary.
Right.
Like, it's a mockumentary.
Mockumentary, yeah.
And they use cameras. But if they use cameras with mirrors in them, technically the vampires would not show up at all within that movie.
That's what I'm saying.
And I wish that would be addressed. I wish they would somehow address that. Let's get Taika Waititi on the line and be like, hey.
You know what?
So,
Listen,
in
me
your
and Taika, we
vampire
talk
movie?
every day. Let me just call him up here real quick for you, okay?
And you're a vampire
We
movie.
play golf, and we talk about... I got the whole scoop on the new Thor movie, too. It's going to be dope.
Is he Thor?
Yeah, Thor will be in that movie. Yeah.
Ah, well, it hurts.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Chris Hemsworth is Thor from working out too much?
I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you.
There'll be a Thor loser, Matt.
Oh, you shut up. A sore loser.
A Thor loser.
You shut up.
So, like, okay, so Dracula, like, do we just not talk about Dracula? Should I
No,
just
you can talk
how
about
great
Dracula. You can talk about Dracula, and I'll be like, yeah, bro, I knew that the whole time.
So, do you know, like, much of the history
Of course I do that.
Do you know much of the history of kind of Dracula in film and stuff like that?
No.
So, the first...
Educate us. Enlighten us.
The first unofficial version of Dracula was 1922's Nosferatu, which I'm sure you've seen stills of. Like, it's the weird-looking guy with the big head, long nails, and, like...
Yeah.
That
I've
was
definitely seen those, yeah.
So that was a very, very kind of loose adaptation of the book. That they didn't get permission for, because this is back in, like, again, 1922.
Classic.
So the whole copyright permissions thing and all that kind of stuff was really weird. It was really kind of a different new territory.
Yeah.
But Bram Stoker's family was, like, pissed. They were not happy with it because they're like, what? You just took the book and you just did your own thing with it? And basically, I think for a while, I don't remember if it ever got taken away from anything. I want to say it was tied up in lawsuits for a bit, but, like, since it's become public domain. It's been public domain for a while now.
Oh,
So you can watch it for free on YouTube. It is a silent movie. The visuals are stunning. Highly recommend just for the visuals. The story itself, again, is Dracula. It's just Dracula, but kind of different, and it's weird because he's just a weird-looking vampire the whole time.
Fair enough.
But then I can't believe that it was 1931 is when the first one came out. So we're almost coming up to the 100th anniversary. Like in 10 years, we'll be at the 100th anniversary for the original Dracula on. But yeah,
being put out into the atmosphere.
Yeah, we're at the 90th anniversary this year. 10 more years, it'll be 100 years.
The birth of Dracula.
And so it's kind of cool with that. So number one, Bela Lugosi absolutely shaped what that character would become and who that character is. Like, you can see a little bit of Bela Lugosi in, like, almost every adaptation of Dracula after the fact.
Right.
And it's really hard to get away from how iconic that performance is. Now, an interesting thing happened with that, and it used to happen all the time, is films would get made twice back in the day. They would make an English version, and then since they had the sets and the costumes and everything like that, they would hire Spanish actors or actors in different languages, and they just remake the movie. And so,
nice.
Spanish Dracula...
God, that would have been a pain in the butt.
Well, I mean, why not? They save money, and they can double their profit. But there's this... So then, the same year, they also released Spanish Dracula. And Spanish Dracula is hilarious because the cinematography is awesome. Like, they did shots that you wouldn't have seen in the Americanized version, all that kind of stuff. They kind of pushed cinema a little further that way.
Right.
But the acting was absolutely atrocious. Like, it was not good acting for physical acting. I can't really speak... When it's foreign language films, I can't really speak to how good performances are, because I don't know what things sound like in the native language or anything like that. But physical acting, like... There's a famous scene in Dracula where... it depends on the interpretation of which character it is, but he's, like, hosting a character. And this character cuts himself somehow. He cuts himself, and then Dracula's, like, drawn to the blood and is like, ooh, cool, I'm gonna feed on this guy. But then a cross necklace falls out. The crucifix falls out, and then Dracula, like, hisses and, like, runs away. Yeah, like, typical vampire noise.
Yeah.
So in the Bela Lugosi one, what happens is, yeah, he sees that, and then he, like, flings his arms over him, and, like, he hides from it.
No!
In the Spanish Dracula version, he frowns. He just does, like, a when he sees the cross, and it's like, that's a drastically different tone, but, like, okay, all right.
He's like, man, I was hungry. Freaking cross on my cheeseburger.
So a lot of the acting... A lot of the acting choices don't really translate. But no, like, it's... Man, it's... The original one is iconic. It's absolutely iconic. I don't know what else to say about Dracula. Like, it's hard. It's hard to just rant about Dracula for so long. There's a version... It's really weird because they always shuffle the characters around from version to version.
Uh-huh.
There's never really one consistent lineup of characters. Like, they always change between like there's usually there's the usual suspects of, like, Jonathan Harker and Mina and Dr. Seward.
Oh yeah.
Lucy.
Yeah.
And Renfield.
Mm-hmm.
However, they sometimes shuffle who is who. Oh, and Van Helsing. Van Helsing also is in that original. Is from Dracula.
Mm-hmm.
And they sometimes shuffle the relationships between the characters, who's marrying who is with who, whose father is who. and they shuffle them in some weird ways in other interpretations, like there's Franklin Gela, I think that's how you pronounce his name, or Langella, I'm not sure.
Okay.
He played Dracula in the 1979 movie, which is a weird take on it, but like not bad. And they did a weird thing where like Mina was Van Helsing's daughter.
Okay.
And like that's weird. That's different.
Mm-hmm.
But oh well. And then in the 1992, I think, Bram Stoker's Dracula, the Francis Ford Coppola one that came out, I feel like it's the closest to the book that's been released. I think it's supposed to be the closest one.
Oh, yeah.
It's been a long time since I've read the book, and it all blends together because it's all... Again, it's the same story told different ways over 100 years now, almost. Actually, yeah, next year will be 100 years because 1922 is when Nosferatu came out.
Well, there you go.
So it's been around for a very long time.
Years.
And the book's been out longer than that, obviously, but like I'm talking in translation to film. And I don't know, it's something where like I don't always get hung up on vampire deals. I like vampire movies quite a bit. I think they're fun. But Dracula's one that just always has a soft spot in my heart. That and Frankenstein. Between those two, like, I love adaptations of Frankenstein as well for the same reason.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if you haven't seen Dracula, Matt, what vampire movies have you seen? What to you is a good vampire movie? Yes?
I was just pretending to be frozen. I don't know why. I'm tired.
It was not good. It was not a good time.
What? I thought it was pretty solid. I didn't even breathe. That was pretty good.
If you were a vampire, you wouldn't have to breathe.
Well, there you go.
Excuse me.
It depends, because it depends on like what kind of tone and stuff you're going for. Like comedic end, obviously, What We Do in the Shadows is freaking awesome.
Oh yeah, that's phenomenal.
Like it is such a great film. Very funny, very comedic, very very Taika Waititi. Very Taika Waititi.
Aren't we getting a sequel about the werewolves?
I'm not sure. There's a TV sequel.
There's the TV
like
show.
Series. Yeah, the show. Another one that I loved was Lost Boys. I thought that was a great one. If you want to talk about something a little bit more dramatic on that end of things, I thought Lost Boys
a little bit more. Oh, I guess I was like gonna say like Dracula's incredibly dramatic, and it's like no,
not than Dracula, but like in comparison to what we do in the shadows, because it is it's a darker, more dramatic piece.
Never watched the sequels. Never. The
yeah,
sequels are not worth it.
I never had any intention to watch the sequels, but the original, the first one.
Oh yeah,
you gotta watch it. You have to watch it. If you love vampire movies, you have to watch it. Absolutely,
it's so
fantastic film.
It's such a weird one because it's a bit of a slow burn too, where it's like okay, they introduced vampires pretty early on, but then you kind of build the characters, and that last 20 minutes to half an hour. Yeah. Everything just goes insane.
It just hits the fan.
It's like, oh man, okay, vampires are going to invade this house. We got to protect ourselves. And then everything just gets wrecked.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious.
It's great. Action-wise, like, talking Blade 2, right? Like, freaking love Blade 2. Obviously, more about Blade than the vampires, but it does have some great vampire connections because that's who Blade hunts, and he's working with them. There's Ron Perlman in that one. That's a great. I love Blade 2. That's probably my favorite one. There's some really great things going on in that film.
Now, does he have two blades in that film?
No, just one.
Well, that's false advertising.
Minus like all his knives, but he has a lot of knives too and things that he throws. And
well, that's still false advertising because he doesn't have more. He has more than two blades the whole time. So it's just a lie. I don't think I can support that film anymore.
Sometimes, Ethan. Sometimes.
You haven't seen Dracula.
Sometimes, Ethan. I'm just like, what the hell's wrong with you, man? What is wrong? What is wrong with you?
My problem today is that you haven't seen Dracula at all.
If you're looking at like kind of like the horror one, 30 Days a Night was pretty fun.
30 Days a Night is
I
a
haven't
very
seen that
unique take.
for a long time.
I
But
know
it
Crosshair
was a
loves
very, very different take on vampires. But it was interesting. And it was kind of fun.
Oh, and it's
More in the
super
horror
unique.
genre, though. Like, that's definitely more the, you know.
I mean, that's what vampires should belong, is the horror genre.
Oh, yeah, and I don't disagree with you. Like, Twilight's bullcrap. But then, you know, you got Supernatural, too, which is a really great show. And I think they also do a really good job at their version of vampires, because it is slightly different from what like is, you know, more common in the media, but they're still very terrifying. They're still very aggressive. I think it's a really great rendition of vampires. So I would definitely recommend watching Supernatural. The vampire episodes are usually pretty good, usually pretty solid.
They're okay. Depends on the season.
Well, that's any show. Depends on the season. Depends on the episode. Like, but I think most of the vampire ones that I've watched, I'm rewatching it again because I don't remember a lot of it. But I'm on season 6 now. Yeah. Season 6. So most of the vampire stuff up to that point has been pretty solid, and I like their rendition and their idea of like what a vampire is. It's fun.
Well, the way that the teeth come out in the vampires in Supernatural is interesting. Like, I like the idea of, like, they're an extra set of teeth.
Yeah, like it's a second set that comes down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I just like it. It's just a cool idea. It's a cool idea. I like how they roll. But I think that would be kind of like my favorite, like, vampire type things when I think about it off the top of my head. Obviously, I don't know. I just don't really get into vampire stuff that often. Like, it's not that it's not interesting, and I'm definitely not bashing the subject or the topic, because there's a lot of interesting stuff in that genre. But it just doesn't interest me as much as a lot of the other type monsters and the things that go boo in the dark. That's all.
I mean, if you say so, you just gotta ruin my night and ruin my topic.
I hope it doesn't ruin your night. Shouldn't ruin your night. It's just my opinion. In my opinion, it doesn't really mean squat. So.
You haven't watched True Blood or Vampire Diaries either?
No. Not even a little bit.
I saw the first 3 seasons of Vampire Diaries because a girl I dated was really into it, and that's
yeah.
Then I got dumped.
Then it would be
worth
it.
Continue the show.
You're just like, I'm out. No, thank you.
Apparently, according to anyone who like is a fan of the show, when I say like, yeah, I finished watching like around season 3, they're like, you picked a good time to leave the show.
It just got worse after that point, too.
Apparently.
Oh man.
To
be honest, anything called Vampire Diaries to me does not. I'm like, no, thank you.
See, that's the thing, is like it's a very misleading title because it starts off very like it's gonna be romance, and like it was, but also holy crap, it was one of the goriest shows I've ever seen on TV.
Oh, okay.
Like they didn't shy away from it, and after the first 3 episodes, they really they chucked the whole. They had this whole book ending thing in the series where they were doing like a Dear Diary thing.
Yeah.
And like by the 3rd episode, they're like, well, that's out. And like I'm really glad they did, because it really slowed down and like made it feel super melodramatic. And it's like, okay, it's melodramatic enough as like it's vampires in a small town. It's melodramatic enough.
Like it doesn't need anymore.
It's already Twilight with actual vampires. Like, did you know I read all 4 Twilight books to impress a girl in high school?
You're such a dumbass.
Yeah, it didn't work, but I know about Twilight now.
It didn't work.
I learned a valuable lesson about not trying to impress someone.
Who was it? Who
do you think?
Who was it?
Who do you think?
Who was it? Say it.
We all know. Any girl who would look my way.
What's that? I feel like Harvey Dent on like when he's laying in the bed with his face half part. Say it.
But no, it's,
what was that name you had?
It was just one of those things that I learned. I learned an important lesson about don't do things to impress other people, Because 9 times out of 10, it's not going to impress other people. Do things because you want to do them.
They don't care.
The cool thing is, like, I did come out of it knowing which one's my favorite. Again, they were all terrible. But my favorite and least terrible one was New Moon.
Oh, man.
But that said, I've only ever seen the first movie. Because, boy howdy,
even when I was dating my wife, she's like, "Let's watch no, was it even with me? Yeah, I was dating her, but I think her friend was here, and they were having like a girls thing, and they were gonna watch all the Twilight things, and I was like, "Well, see you later. Like, have fun. Like, I'm out." like, no, thank you. I know what I like, what I dislike, for the most part. And Twilight is definitely in the I do not want to just listen. We only have so much time on this planet, and I do not want to spend any of that on Twilight.
I was in high school and I didn't know better.
Well, I don't know what to say. Who was it?
We all know.
No, we don't. Dude, you just were like, man, I'll chase around all the girls. I don't know. Maybe there was other secret girls. I didn't know you read Twilight, so maybe I don't know which girl you were trying to impress with Twilight.
In high school, it's fair. It could have been any girl.
Like, that is a fair statement. It literally could have been anybody. I'm just trying to think. I'm like, man, who would even be impressed with you reading
Nobody.
Twilight?
That's the thing.
I'm trying to figure out. I'm like, who would have even been impressed with you reading Twilight? Like, I have no idea where that came from.
You gotta understand it. It came from being a stupid high school boy. I was one of the high school boys. I'd sit in the bus, looking out the window, listening to my music introspectively, thinking that would attract somebody. Someone would be like, "Oh my gosh, you're so sensitive. I'm gonna come sit next to you, and what are you listening to?" And that never happened because life isn't a freaking movie. Trust me, I know the things that I chose to do in high school was cringy as heck. If I could go back in time and kick my butt, I would.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't laugh. I've done a lot of...
Not all of us could have a child by the time we were 16, Matt. Not all of us were that
not
responsible.
really... I don't know if that's a bragging point either. I was dumb in different ways.
You had a child, I read Twilight. There we go. It's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah. Except my kid's going to high school now, and it's like, well, bro.
It's like, what? No.
Crazy.
Now your kid's reading Twilight in high school.
No, she's not, but, I'm working out right now, making sure I'm ready for any other boys come sniffing around. Like, man, you go find how about you go read the Twilight books, you come back, you impress the dad by reading Twilight books.
Sir, I read all 4 books plus the spin-off. It's okay.
And I'd be like, good God, you poor fool.
I tricked you.
You're so stupid. Get out. You spent your time reading that shit. Get the hell out of here. Hilarious.
Crap, what other...
I'm still curious. You have to tell me when we're done recording.
Did you ever see Daybreakers?
It sounds familiar. I don't think I ever watched it, though.
Willem Dafoe?
Definitely heard of it. Never watched it.
I really enjoy that one. It's like it poses vampires as a disease rather than a curse, and it's kind of interesting because it's like a post-apocalyptic vampire movie.
Right.
I think you might dig it. Me and Cross really liked it. And again, you didn't like Rain of Fire, so I don't know how well you're gonna like it.
I didn't say I didn't like Rain of Fire.
You didn't like Rain of Fire.
I did not. So I watched Rain of Fire. I actually, since the last time we talked in this podcast, I took both of Ethan's recommendations, and I don't know, I can't remember if that was actually ended up in the podcast or not. But he told me to watch, read Devolution or listen to. Devolution. It's Devolution, right? Or is it De-Evolution? Devolution? Okay.
Hey.
Whatever. So he told me, he said, hey, listen to the audiobook Devolution because it's a little Bigfoot and like, terrorizing this eagle community. And I was like, okay, interesting. So I downloaded that night and I listened to the whole book, 9.5 hours the next day. I pretty much binged an audiobook. It was fantastic. It was actually A lot of fun, very interesting, great story, highly recommended. One of the other movies he's been bugging me to watch was Reign of Fire. So I decided to check that one out. That one's got Matthew McConaughey and Christian Bale. And Gerard Butler is in that movie too. He's absolutely charming. But anyway, it's about like dragons that reappear in the modern world and pretty much just waste everything because they're freaking dragons, right? So I watched that film and I actually liked it. But then I told Ethan, it wasn't bad, but like the people, like I thought the plot was a little light. And a lot of the characters died in like really dumb ways. Like, and he's like, well, of course there's dragons. It's going to be dumb deaths, but I'm talking really dumb ways, like dumb for the characters. It doesn't make sense what happened, how some of those people died, especially Gerard Butler and Matthew McConaughey's character didn't even need to die. He just did the dumbest thing and ended up dead. So that was just, I didn't hate the movie. Definitely didn't love it though. I thought it was a little bit weak. Like I said, on the plot, the world building was great. The dragon designs were great. But the actual plot itself was a little bit on the light side, and the deaths were really dumb. That's all.
In your opinion, they were dumb.
That is my opinion. Okay, listen. Let's just talk about Matthew McConaughey's death for a sec. That was an absolute useless, stupid death. This is like military leader,
stupid death.
Military leader,
he was crazy.
Supreme guy. Yes, but he was also like military leader supreme. It doesn't even make sense. His whole thing was like, I'm going to kill this dragon. So then he's like, I'm just going to do something that's going to get me killed. And I have no idea after this if they're actually going to kill the dragon. Hope they do it. Like, I'm out.
What about Sam Jackson and Kong? It was the same thing. It was a crazy military dude with one thing on his mind, and he did it.
Different story though.
Either way, he had it coming.
I mean, I haven't watched Kong for a long time. So I can't exactly.
Matthew McConaughey.
I can't remember exactly the context what Samuel Jackson was doing, but listen, Matthew McConaughey jumped at a dragon with an axe and got eaten out of the air and did nothing. Like,
because he was crazy.
What was the plan there? Listen, just saying he was crazy doesn't make it good, and it doesn't make it any less stupid.
Amazing.
I am sorry, but that's not how it works. Because you could just call any stupid death like, oh yeah, that guy was just crazy. Like, no, that was just bad. That was just bad writing. They're like, listen, we need to get Matthew McConaughey out of here so Christian Bale can be the hero. So let's just have him jump at a dragon and get eaten. Which he would not have even done. He was crazy because he took on dragons, but he was also committed to his mission and his purpose. And jumping at a dragon with an axe was fulfilling none of those things. They never showed any sign that he would take an axe and jump at a dragon. Not once did it show that his character would even do that.
Yes, his crazy eyes. He was unpredictable. He was going to do whatever he could.
Yes, to kill the dragon. That wouldn't have killed the dragon. Not even
You don't know.
close.
Have you ever fought a dragon, Matt?
Not even close. It was the dumbest thing. I was like, wow, that was pretty effing stupid. Like, now you're useless and you're dead. Great job. Like,
and I disagree.
You got your whole army killed so you can jump at a dragon with an axe. Great job, a-hole. Like, it was stupid.
But on the other hand, Devolution was amazing, wasn't it?
Yes, absolutely. I 100% agree with that. That was a fantastic book. Like I said, I binged that in one day. It was like 9.5 hours. It was like, this is all I'm listening to. It was pretty awesome.
The performances were good. The writing was good. Like,
yeah. I was even doing a stream that night, and I delayed the stream a bit so I could finish the book. I was like, I had an hour left, and I was like, I cannot sit down in a stream and stream this without knowing how this book ends. Like, there's just no way.
And you could see it as a movie too, right? Like, you could see it clearly.
As a movie, that would be the potential there for a film is very, very high, and the potential, like, you just it'd be hard to F it up, but someone could.
Actually, no, as a miniseries.
Yeah,
someone wants to
miniseries
do,
would
like-
actually be pretty good too. But you have to capture the tension. You have to capture the isolation. You have to capture like the
that's where I think-
rawness of everything that's happening.
I think a miniseries would work better because you would have the time to have everything happen.
Yeah,
As
That's
opposed to
actually
like a
true.
movie, you'd kind of be rushing it all.
yeah,
And so much of it's like a slow burn, right? Like,
Yeah.
like, hey, is it actually Bigfoot?
yeah.
And then it turns into big feet. Whoa.
And there's a shitload of them. But
Man, it was
yeah,
so
it was
good.
like the behavior, the way they went about everything. It was great. Like it was just a great book about really,
That's
like
just
survival
prime.
and like what you're going to do
The
in the
human
face
condition.
of death. Like yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome. And the deaths in there were totally like everything made sense. Everything was worthy.
They
Like,
were
it was,
brutal too,
like
though.
it was set like no one just like, oh, I died. It's like, oh no, man, people got effed up. Like it wasn't even funny. Like, oh, and then like and it was so funny because it's really about like human nature and like who we truly are a lot when we're face to face with death, right? Or in these like high life or death scenarios. And the couple that was like, oh, rah rah, like this is our little eco village and we're the great leaders, like just totally instantly crumbled like a freaking bag of like instant noodles. Like, and they were just a mess. And the freaking big feet, man, they just effed them up. And I was like, yeah, you guys had that coming. Like there's just and you're just like, everything's going well, things are looking good, you're like, great, they should actually be able to stand a chance here. And then they would run out of time and one would show up, you know, and it's like, no, if they didn't go looking for that stupid couple and just set up their defenses, maybe things could have been different. But the ending was fantastic. Like it's just like chef's kiss. Mwah.
Everything, man. Like again,
Beautiful.
beginning to end. Like
No, that was a really
5 stars. 5 stars. Highly
really
recommend.
really good book. Yeah, but
Uh,
Reign of Fire, like I didn't think it was terrible. Like the world building was really great. The dragon
perfect-
designs were fantastic. I just thought
it's
the
a
plot
perfect.
was it was just a little on the light side, and they didn't really dig into a lot of things I think they could have. And yeah, some of the deaths were just like,
It's
bro,
a
what?
perfect. It's a perfect dragon movie to come out in 2002 or 2003.
yeah, that sounds
Whatever year
accurate.
it came out.
I mean, I've seen worse dragon movies, so yeah.
Right. And then you have classics like Dragonheart, which is just flawless movie, right? Have you never seen Dragonheart?
Beautiful. I have. Yep.
Okay, your face looked confused for a second. I'm like,
No,
Matt,
Dan. I was just being like, oh yeah.
am I gonna fight
that's
you
some
on
good
Sean
stuff.
Connery as a dragon?
That's some good stuff. No, Sean Connery's a dragon. I loved that movie. I saw it when I was very, very young. I haven't watched it when I was older. And they did make sequels. I just didn't watch those either. I was like,
you don't have to watch any of the sequels,
was
and
like,
the
yeah,
original
just-
one doesn't
again-
super hold up.
oh, it doesn't.
Like it's a fun kids movie. It's definitely a kids movie.
Well, that would make sense why I liked it as a kid.
Yeah, exactly.
And Sean Connery's a dragon. That's just a win.
Yes, the special
win.
effects is mostly where it does not hold up.
Ah, fair enough. It's an older film, so that would make sense. Yeah.
But back to Dracula's.
Back to
sexy-
Dracula.
Sexy Dracula's.
Just going around about other things. Yeah. Well, you had a phone call. What are you gonna do?
Well, I'm trying to think of what other vampire things there are. Like, have we tapped all the vampire things? From Dusk Till Dawn. Have you seen From Dusk Till Dawn?
No,
Oh man,
I don't think so. Maybe.
it like
Probably
starts
not.
off at like this kind of like gangster robbing movie and turns into a vampire movie, and it's just the
Oh.
twist is phenomenal.
Oh.
Matt, you've just disappointed me. You've hurt me to no end, because how have you barely seen anything with vampires? Underworld. You've seen
Oh
Underworld.
yeah. I've seen Underworld. Yep.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
okay.
Also back in the day, but yep. Saw those ones. Listen, man, don't man. Listen, I'm not gonna read Twilight or watch shows I don't want to watch just to impress somebody else. Okay,
I'm not saying do that. I'm saying that Dracula is a classic, and you should have seen Dracula.
Yeah, but I just didn't have the interest to see it, so I just haven't seen it. And it's not like overly a good reason, but it's just an honest reason. And there's so many things to watch and keep track of. It's like, how do you watch everything? And as much as I love film and I love shows, I just don't get to watch as much of it nowadays. Like, that's the honest truth of it. Like, I wish I just had time to sit down and like marathon a bunch of things and like just roll with it. But
you should at least watch one Dracula film this year.
We're already in like October 7th, so probably.
As I'm saying, just one Dracula
maybe next year.
You're the worst. So
dude, how many more movies am I even gonna watch like this year? I don't know. Like I'm gonna try and get to the theaters to see James Bond, Shang-Chi, maybe Venom. Maybe Venom.
You don't have to leave anywhere. You can just watch it at home.
Yeah, but when I'm at home, listen. I got a whole bunch of stuff going on right now. It's crazy time. I'm working all the time or looking after my kid right now, so. Movies are just like, yeah, and it's got to be something that I'd probably end up watching with my wife because that's really going to be the time that I take a break and watch a movie or something like that, right? Or if it's like really late and I got some time and I got some chill time and I can sit down and watch a show for an hour. But I don't know, sometimes you do get random moments, so maybe I'll try. You know what, Ethan? I will maybe try. That's as best as I can. Because if I don't feel like watching a Dracula movie when I have an opportunity to watch a movie, I probably just won't. So.
Did you watch Castlevania?
Nope.
Matt.
I love how this podcast is now like, God damn it, Matt. That should be the episode title. God damn it, Matt. Don't watch
Why do you hate
stuff.
vampires, Matt?
Why does Matt hate vampires?
Why is it the whiter the person, the more you hate them?
Well, that's not true. We would not be doing a podcast if that was the truth.
I am not whiter than a vampire.
I would not be married to my wife.
I can't comment on that. I've met your wife once.
She is a pretty white person.
Pretty pale person?
She's pretty white. Yeah.
Well,
kind of gingery.
I guess people, if we've missed any vampire films, let us know in the comments down below. Tell us what we missed. Do you have a question of the day, Matt?
Oh, no way. Dude, I forgot it was Thursday today. You're just like, what are we talking about? I was like, dude, I didn't even know it was Thursday.
Well, I guess we can sit awkwardly until you come up with one.
I am just like so way out to lunch on things. That's the COVID life, though. I tell you, that's the COVID life. Okay, if you had the opportunity to become a vampire, would you take it?
Okay, so that depends. I can't believe we didn't talk about Buffy. That's. Wait, have you seen Buffy or Angel?
I don't watch Buffy either.
Okay.
Like, literally, if there's vampire in the title, it's not that I actively avoid it. I just don't want
So, it depends.
And actually, I heard Buffy was pretty... I've heard it's obviously very good. I just haven't seen it.
I enjoy it. So anyway, to answer your question, I guess, it depends on the type of vampire. Because there are some interpretations, like Buffy, where specifically you lose your soul and a demon takes place in you, and the demon is the vampire.
Oh, well, that sounds like bullcrap.
Memories and stuff.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do that. No. You can cross me off for that one. Not interested.
I don't know. I don't think I'd want to be a vampire. Like there's a part of me that it appeals to, because, like, immortality, but on the same time, can't go outside in the sunlight.
Yeah. You need that vitamin D.
And garlic.
Sunlight, right? Yeah, I think so.
Anything wooden you have to be afraid of.
Anything wooden?
Well, it could be. What if it breaks off, becomes a steak, and stabs you?
Oh yeah, I guess so.
Right.
Or just keep it around for when you just want to end your eternal life. You're like, yeah, I'm tired of living.
Well, but that's people. The thing is, like, if you become a vampire and then you end your eternal life, like, are you condemning yourself as well? You're gonna end up in hell. Is it fine?
Maybe you were a nice vampire. Do you have a soul even? Still a good question.
That's a question. And if I don't have the
soul, because are you alive
at
or
what
dead
point-
or undead?
You're undead technically. So that's where it's like, I don't know. I don't think I would. I don't think vampirism is the way I'd go for immortality.
Honestly, I wouldn't want immortality. People are already stupid enough today. I don't need to see them in another 200 years. It's like, yeah, no thank you.
But if I'm an immortal, I can kill them and get away with it.
Oh, well, that's a good point.
Right?
Yeah, I can murder all the stupid people. Yeah.
Yeah, I can murder them and then I disappear.
Yeah.
Come back 100 years,
Be a
pose as my son.
vampire. I'm just kidding. I love all the people. I love all the people.
I don't know.
Humanity is a fantastic race. No morons at all. Especially
right
when
now.
you're driving. There's
Yes.
never been a stupid driver ever. Everyone is a perfect driver. I've never even gone mad once while
I
driving.
had a
Because
couple
everyone's
days
been so
ago-
perfect. Yeah, it's amazing.
A couple days ago, I thought that
Absolute miracle.
I thought that I had been a jerk and cut somebody off, and like I might have cut them off, but then I saw on their back window they had the Confederate flag, and so I suddenly just stopped caring if I cut them off or not.
You're just like, I feel
I was like, "Oh,
less
you're a
bad.
terrible person." Cool, I'm happy about that. And then he slowed down to flip me off, and it's like,
he just
oh.
likes the Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah, no, it wasn't one of those Confederate flags where it's like, you can, like, oh yeah, maybe you're a fan. It was like, oh, you think you're cool. You think you're a badass for having this flag in your window.
It's like, you realize you're so far north of the South, it's not even funny right now, right, bro? Like, right?
Welcome to Alberta.
Or you're also in a different country, so don't know if it applies. Anyway.
How about you, Matt? Would you go for it?
No, sounds like a crap deal, to be honest. Like,
Right? Like, I feel like there's better ways.
yeah. They're like, man, if you want to live forever, I'm sure there's other type of monster things that you could do. But being a vampire, while it comes with perks, also has a lot of downsides to it. Even just eternal life in itself seems like a downside. Like, people are like, yeah, I don't want to live forever. And I'm kind of like, but then everyone else would die and you would just have to keep living on. And that would kind of suck. Like, everyone you know would just die and you're just
I don't know until I try it.
still hanging out. I would be down though with being like a vampire hybrid like Blade. That would be kind of cool. Cuz I can go out in the sun, but I also kind of have superpower type things. Which would kind of be
That's
cool.
fair.
It's kind of like best of both worlds. I guess that's what a hybrid is. So I might
so
be down with that.
Your answer is Blade.
Would you want to be a vampire? Only if I'm Blade. Yeah.
Fair enough. I can't even argue.
Yeah, it seems like a pretty solid logic to me.
So, Matt, do you think that's the end of the episode?
Yeah, probably.
It's mostly just me yelling at you this week.
Yeah, pretty much. It's just like, yeah, God damn it, man.
Well, then where can the good people find you?
You can find me on gamingnightradio.com or just follow the podcast on any of your podcast suppliers. What the hell are they called? Providers? I don't know.
Yeah, I'd say that.
Anyway, yeah, you can find the podcast anywhere. Talk about gaming. It's a great time. I'm kind of reworking the whole concept and the idea behind it right now. Just giving it a little, coming at it from a different point of view and trying to tackle it a little bit of a different way. So it's not just about the games we love, but it's also about the people who love the games too. So a little bit about the people, trying to make it a bit more like inclusive, and really get the listeners involved as much as I can. Not just my podcast, but a little bit of everyone. So that's kind of the plan right now. We'll see how that pans out. But yeah, gamingnightradio.com. And Mr. Twilight over here, where can they find you?
Oh, you can find me in was the town called Forks? I feel like the town was called Forks.
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, you couldn't. You couldn't tell me where's Dracula from either.
Nope. Transylvania.
Yeah, it's literally Hotel Transylvania, Matt. They made at least 2 to 3 good films about Dracula and his friends, and you've slept on those.
No, I didn't. I saw those.
Oh, so you do know Dracula.
Okay, I'm not a moron. Like, everybody knows Dracula. I just haven't watched the movies.
You've disappointed me, and for that,
And
I
I
will
didn't
leave you
realize
with-
Hotel Transylvania counted as a legit Dracula viewing.
He's
Animated
Dracula.
Adam
He does not
Sandler
say
as
blah,
Dracula.
blah, blah.
Counted. I do not go blah, blah, blah.
He's a great Dracula.
I'm just
He
saying.
makes-
Yeah, like,
So
yeah,
am I.
Jordan loves
All
those
I'm
ones.
saying-
Jordan loves those ones. Yeah.
Either
I think
way.
after, like, 3, it was kind of like, bro. And the newest one that they have coming out is, like, it's not even the same voice cast anymore. It's just like, you know, when you don't even have Adam Sandler coming around with his buddies, it's like, it's problematic. Anyway, where can the good people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Ethan R. Hill. You can also find me on YouTube at Ethan R. Hill, and you can find mine and Proster's feature film Damned Rights at realhouse.org. Download it, buy it, stream it, all that jazz.
QQQ.
Well, Matt, I think that's it. I think that's the episode.
Well, I'm just
I don't
glad
think I'm
I'm not a
gonna
ghost
recover.
today. I'm just so thankful that I've been allowed to come back into the land of the living. Thank
just
you,
really-
listeners, for believing in me, believing that I exist. It is your belief that has
I'm
brought
just
me
really
back.
hurt. I'm just really hurt that you came back to tell me that you haven't seen any Dracula.
Well, I just don't give a shit.
Well, I don't know if we can be friends.
And this
I
is
guess
the
we'll
last
just have to
episode of A Feast of Films.
That's how it feels. That's how it feels.
Well, at least we ended on a beautiful episode of Ethan just yelling at me all episode.
It's true.
What a great
All
way to
right.
wrap it
Well,
up.
that was A Feast of Films, everybody. Tune
A
in next week
Feast
when we
of
talk
Films.
about something else for Halloween.
Boo-ha-ha-ha. So
All
long.
right. Have a good week, everyone.
So long.
Bye-bye.
Toodaloo. Doll.
Yay.